All right, so for those who don't know me, my name is Derek Bobbitt, and this summer I worked as a marketing intern for EvolveTalent.io. I'm in the Paul College of Business in the class of 2024, so the other freshmen that came into this program. I'm studying finance and information systems and business analytics. And my hometown is Nashville, New Hampshire. So EvolveTalent.io is your global on-demand in-house embedded recruiting startup, which is a big thing saying that basically they work in-house for multiple different clients or companies. And they use a no-commission recruiting model, which is very different in the recruiting agency or industry. So most staffing agencies in the recruiting industry work on a commission model. So if they hire someone, they're going to get a portion of that person's salary in the next year or whenever they hire them. So this usually costs a lot because it can be upwards of 10 to 35%. So what they do is they instead work at a flat rate and they partner with their client companies and work as their HR department in a certain way, especially with respect to talent sourcing. So what they found in their case studies is they typically cost about 50% less than the industry average, which is really cool. So also my role, I originally came in as a marketing intern. So that was mostly social media, and that's content planning, creation, and I helped them work with their outsourced graphics designer in New Zealand to develop a streamlined process in an Excel spreadsheet to basically figure out content, creation of content, and kind of bring in certain calendars, especially certain events in Boston as well. But that kind of expanded because they expected that program to take about 5 weeks, and I finished it in the first 2 weeks. So I kind of took on a lot more roles as far as business development and outreach. I started working on reaching out to possible founders and clients in Boston, and I'll get into that a little more later. But also worked on talent sourcing, so I dipped my toes into the recruiting side of things, and I actually helped put together some sourcing projects to actually help the talent partners at Evolve Talent. Also data cleaning, you have to do a little bit of grunt work along the way as an intern, so I helped clean up certain spreadsheets, figure out certain, I would say, filters, and then give them actual good data they could use for reaching out to possible clients. Also, I developed a personal project as a part of this called the Internet's Founder Podcast, and basically it's a podcast I use to interview founders and connect them with interns and students to try to get their insights straight from the C-suite. So basically that was a project that was originally a personal project, but Jamie kind of took a liking to it and he decided to end up sponsoring it as part of my program. And I was able to interview founders that he knows that he's trying to help them build their business and reach out to possible clients that he'd like to reach out to in the future. So what I learned. So business development is harder than it looks. So talking about cold outreach, especially when you're looking at that, which I think you talked about, it's not easy. You'll probably get one reply for every 100 emails you'll send out. And I'll talk about that a little more. Also, your network is your most valuable asset. So one thing at Jamie, I learned a lot from him personally. He was my direct supervisor. He got a start in Uber and Wayfair, and he took a lot of those business connections that he made there, and that actually helped him build his original client base. So it's really valuable about who you know, not what you know. Also, startup culture is very different from corporate culture. It's very more lax. Innovation is very held in high regard. So basically, they'll have meetings, and anyone, doesn't matter what their status is in the company, can bring an idea to the table, and it's very open and non-hierarchical. So about myself, the right time to start is now. This summer was a big thing for me starting my own personal projects, along with starting some of my entrepreneurship ventures. The Internet's Founder Podcast was actually a project I wanted to do for a while, and I was kind of like holding it off because I'm like, I don't have the right connections yet. I don't have enough experience with podcasting yet. I haven't done any of those interviews. So I kind of just said, you know what, I'm going to start now, and then I'll learn as I go. So falling forward into opportunity. So the first episode's actually out, but I'm going to continue to make more guests that way. Also currently working with a prop tech stealth startup that I started with a couple of my friends, and we're going to see where that goes. Currently it's in the ideation phase, but hopefully we can get that started soon. Also, everyone needs a presence online. That's one thing I learned a lot because I'm very much an anti-social media person. I find I get distracted because I'll be on TikTok for 6 hours a day or something like that. But I learned that, even if you're not trying to get sucked into it, being able to present yourself online and also have a presence is very important to both businesses and individuals who are trying to create content. So being a producer online, not just a consumer, is very important. Highs and lows, releasing the first episode of the Internet's Founder Podcast with Padraig O'Leary. He's a CEO of QueryLayer, which is a data rights company out of Valencia, Spain. So that was a really interesting interview to have. And that was the first episode I was able to release. So first podcast, first interview, and that was a big moment for me. Also, the low, again, business development is really hard. I got 0 responses from the first campaign we did. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot harder than it looks. But you live and you learn. So plans, I plan to continue IXF, and I've been talking with Jamie more about continuing the sponsorship for that. And also I've been asked to stay on part-time with Evolve Talent into the fall and in the future. So, cool stuff. Also, thank you to Jamie and the whole Evolve Talent team. They were wonderful. We actually had the roof deck open up in the last week I was there, so I was able to go up and have lunch with them. Also, the Pat and Family Foundation, thank you guys for sponsoring this amazing program. As a freshman, a paid internship, especially at a startup, is pretty much non-existent. So it's really great to have this program and have access to that. And also thank you to you guys for setting this up and to the whole E-Center as a whole. So thank you. Any questions?
Any questions, Eric?
Nathaniel?
Where can we find your podcast?
Podcast. So currently it went out on Spotify, Podcasts with a Z or something like that. And also I think there was a couple other ones that went out on Google Podcasts and a couple others. I think it's on Apple Music, but I'll have to check on that. And then hopefully the next episode should be out within the next week. And then I'm starting to do some minis to go along with the guest episodes as well, to go into more startup topics.
LinkedIn profile?
Hmm?
Did you put it in your LinkedIn?
Yes. So if you want to look at the link should be in there as well. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Thank you.